Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're all having a lovely evening. I had a fun time at DEF CON today. I'm coming at you live from my S10e front-facing camera and my little shotgun Rode microphone that I'm plugged into this phone. Today what I'd like to discuss is something Aaron discussed in a speech he gave last night at a dinner that was hosted by Peter Magnuson of Magnuson Institute near DEF CON. He said that a lot of why we are where we are is because you have programmers, you have hardware engineers that work at companies they hate, writing software that they hate, engineering and creating hardware that they hate, that takes away the rights and the freedoms of the user. The reason that we are in a world where our hardware and our software owns and controls us, rather than us owning and controlling it, are because people refuse to clip off the golden handcuffs, leave the company that's giving them $200,000 to $400,000 a year, and dare I say it, slum it up, making $90,000 or dare I say it, $60,000 or $70,000 a year for a year or two until they find their place in the world. And to be clear here, we're not talking about people that work at 7-Eleven or janitor at a bowling alley, or it's the people that it's like, I may not be able to find another job if I leave the job I have now, where you may be going from making $20,000 a year to zero. We're talking about people that, again, if they left Google or Apple or Microsoft, would easily be able to find a job within a week or two, making still a damn good amount of money. Just not as much as before. And maybe they'd lose a little bit of the prestige of being able to tell their wife or their husband that I come home every day an engineer of a FANG company. And there is something that people will often say back when he says this. Well, isn't that easy for you to say? Isn't that easy for you to say when you had your sellout moment or when you have all the money that you do now and blah, blah, blah? There was a comment that came up on his YouTube page about this, and I'd like to address that with him in a future video because he has his own story on where he got to where he is, and I think he should tell some of that story along with all the speed bumps along the way that didn't make it into our interview. But I'd like to discuss this from my perspective as well, because this pisses me off, and I'm not a programmer. I'm not somebody where we're talking about this amount of income disparity. I'm not, again, I can't like create a piece of software and sell it to somebody for hundreds of millions of dollars. I can't, I put flux on motherboards, I heat it up, and I fix it for end consumers on a no-fix, no-fee basis. I'm not going to become a 10 or 100 millionaire off of what I do. I'll be lucky if someday I get to call myself a millionaire. But I digress. What I want to talk about here is a choice that I had to make about 13 or 14 years ago, because I think the dichotomy here is a little wrong. It's that you either have to make money working on things you hate or be broke working on things you love. I think that's a false dichotomy, and I want to explain it. So, for about 13 or 14 years ago, there was a repair shop that I worked at. That was a horrid, horrid place. I worked there for 4 days. Some of you who have been fans of the channel for a long time probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to bother naming in this video. It was a horrible place in Midtown Manhattan. This is the type of thing that they do. If you bring in a laptop and the laptop's not charging, they would say, you got a board issue. It's going to be $150 to $200 to fix the charge port. And then when they're done fixing the board issue, they would say, oh, by the way, we gave you a new charger. Your old charger was acting up, and it's probably going to kill the board that we just fixed, so here you go. The part that would make me the most sick is when a customer would actually leave a 5-star review saying they gave me a replacement charger that they didn't have to give me, and they didn't even charge me for it. The reason this made me sick is because they never fixed the board, because the board was never the problem. The charger was all along, and the reason they're giving the customer a new charger is because, well, if they see their old chargers that doesn't work, then they're going to know that they got screwed. So they have to throw that shit away. So they would give the customer a charger that they paid $15 or $20 for on eBay, charge them $150 or $200, and claim they fixed the board, and that was that. That was really all I needed to see about this particular place, and they did that on a regular basis. Again, they were paying a lot of money for AdWords, so for all you know, they were paying. I got the business model. Like when you're paying $90 for a customer to walk in the door, you need to just beat the money out of everybody that walks in, and honesty be damned. It's not a business model that I like. They also did things like shave the soldering iron tips with sandpaper because they were too cheap to allow me to spend $5 in a replacement soldering tip. So I left on day 4. I thought this place was a shithole, and I did not want to make my money there anymore. Problem is, at the time, I had about $1,000 in credit card debt, and I had about $268 in the bank. So I wasn't really doing too well financially, and I was living in a place after this. I made this decision to leave this place that had termites. I've told the story many times. It was a $400 a month apartment. You know what $400 a month gets you in New York City without roommates? I'll tell you. A place filled with termites that when you call up, the landlord goes, What are you worried about? What are you, Pinocchio? They're not after you. Get it? Because termites eat wood, and Pinocchio is a person that's made out of. The point here, I wasn't in the best place in my life, but I quit. I made that decision, and when I made that decision, I guarantee you, I was way worse off than 99% of the fucking programmers that work at Apple or Google or Facebook or any of these fucking companies that are engineering products that they dislike, software that they dislike, hardware that they dislike, that takes away freedom from the end user. I guarantee you that they are in a better position. That when they're talking about quitting a $200,000 to $400,000 a year job to go make 60 to 90K, whereas I was talking about living in a place that was filled with fucking termites, and I still could not afford a lot of the basic necessities of life in the very beginning. Now the point here is there's this false dichotomy that, well, you either make money and you do what you don't like, or you don't make money, but you do what you like. Imagine if I hadn't made that decision. Think about it. This YouTube channel, what was it about in the very beginning? Rants on running a small business, rants on repair and stuff in general. What did that lead to? Channel with 1.7 million subscribers. Again, not worth 10 million off of this or anything, but brings in some side change. That's not bad. Allows me to advertise my business. Not bad. That led to a lot of the right to repair stuff that I do, which then really kind of expanded the right to repair movement that I'm now known for, that I get recognized on the street for. That stuff's pretty cool. This business that I started, in the beginning, I made less money than I would have made if I stayed with the shit company. I made about 50% of what I would have made. 50 to 30% what I would have made if I stayed with the shit company. However, now I make many multiples of what I would have made if I was still working at the shit company. I actually got to hire my store manager, who used to be a salesperson at that place, who got fired because he too does not like lying to customers. He wears that like a badge of fucking honor. And I got to hire one of the other people that worked there that was a tech that didn't like it. I got to expand to a 12-person company, teach people how to do board repairs, learn how to do them myself, and kind of leave a little bit of a mark on the world. Not only did I get to do what I love, but I also get to make more money than I ever would have imagined had I stayed working there. The people that work there still make close to fucking minimum wage, and they're miserable. I know they're miserable. I see the looks on their face when I walk in from time to time. It's not a nice place. There's this idea that you either have to make money doing what you dislike and just suck it up, or suffer for your art. And I want to tell you that that's a false dichotomy. It's not true. And let's say that you are one of those people that says, well, I can't afford it, or I can't afford the risk of it. Bullshit, bro. Now, again, people called me crazy when I decided to quit a stable job to go start my own company when I had debt, was broke, was living in a place filled with termites. If you are... Fucking phone froze. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, you have people that are in positions where they're not debating whether or not they are going to be living in a termite-infested shithole when they quit their job. You have people that are going from making 2 to 400K that might have to slum it up at somewhere around 60 or even 90. No, what am I going to do? And I can't take that seriously. I can't take that seriously. But here's the thing. Let's say you do have to take a pay cut for a year or 2 years or even 3 years. I'm going to venture to argue that if you do what you enjoy, if you build products that you genuinely love, not only will every day of your life be better as a result of it, but in the long run, you'll actually make more money than you would have made working on things that you hate, for a company that you hate, creating products that you don't like. And I think it's important that somebody tell you this. The first year that I left that company was one of the happiest years of my life. I'm not kidding. I have 1.7 million subscribers. I have 12 employees. I have way more money now than I did back then when I lived in a termite-infested shithole. People recognize me on the street. I'm very, very good at what I do. I didn't know jack shit about board repair back then. I'm pretty damn good at it now. Life's pretty good. But at the end of the day, that first year, man, sometimes I kind of wish I could recreate it. When it was all new, when each day I didn't really know how things were going to go, how the systems I was building were going to work. I was meeting new people on a regular basis, trying to find the groove of things, doing something that was genuinely and truly new. Even though I was completely broke, it was just so much fun building something from nothing. Like the first month where I made $400 or $500. And then the next month where it's like, oh God, I made $600 this month. And And the next month when I made 800, again, this is poverty level. This is true, complete, utter poverty level. Just seeing go from 400, 500 to 6 to 800, 1,000, and so on and so forth. It was insanely exciting. Right now, even the lowest paid, lowest experienced person at my company makes more money than that by a long shot. But I was still more excited back then because I got to see the growth and I got to actually, create something from scratch and see it grow and everything in real time. It was a great feeling even when broke. And it's a feeling that I want as many of you as humanly possible to experience. But the only way you're going to experience it is if you're willing to break the golden handcuffs. If you're willing to stop working on products, on software, if you're willing to stop working writing code that makes you so sick that when you close your text editor, you feel like you have to go take a shower. Stop working on devices. Stop working on hardware. Stop working on software that takes freedom away from the end user. And start working on products that give freedom back to the end user, that give them a feeling of ownership. Yeah, you know what? You may take a bit of a pay cut to go and work developing certain type of open source software. You may take a bit of a pay cut to work at the next framework or the next Fairphone over working at Samsung or Apple. But you might feel better about what you're making at the end of the day, and it might just be worth it. And when you get to see those products, when you get to see them succeed, and when you get to see that people actually like having a little bit of ownership of the devices they own, dare I say it, there might just be a chance that years down the road, and it may take years, that you actually make more money than you would have made with the golden handcuffs. See, in my opinion, one of the worst things that somebody can do to you, and I say this as an employer myself, one of the worst things somebody can do to you is pay you just enough money to lead a good life. Really is. One of the worst things they can do to you. Because once you have just enough money to start living a good life, be able to have a decent car instead of a 1997 Honda Civic, be able to have a nice apartment with a doorman and everything else, man, you really don't want to lose that. And you might just be willing to compromise and not really venture off and figure out where it is you're going to make a mark on the world as a result of it. And again, I can understand and respect if you pump gas, if you work at 7-Eleven, if you're where I was 13 years ago, and you say, you know what, I'm going to stay with the short thing because I don't want to live with termites. But you know what I can't respect? When somebody that's making almost $500,000 a year is like, I can't do that. I would have to slum it up and maybe make as low as 50 or 70K for a year. Deal with it. Take my advice. Deal with it. The feeling that you get for the first year or 2 or 3 years, it's almost unrivaled and unmatched by anything else. And I'll say it. It's 2022. The feeling that I had in 2008 and 2009, that particular feeling, and I felt happiness. I've had some good relationships. I've had some good successes. I got to see a right to repair bill pass in my home state. I got to experience a lot of cool shit over the past 12 or 13 years. Nothing really feels like that first year. Nothing feels like that first year when you're building all that stuff for the first time. And I want as many of you to experience it as possible. And I'd like to do a video interview with Aaron on this topic when we get back to Austin. I think it would be pretty cool to discuss this in general because he has a particularly unique story when it comes to the companies that he worked at and how he exited them and, some of the circumstances around him not wanting to actually exit them because he wanted to stay and keep competing and building stuff but kind of being pushed out of it. And I think it would be really cool to have him tell that particular side of the story. But I just wanted to give my perspective because I was reading a lot of comments on this from people saying, isn't that easy for somebody to say when they're already rich? And when I was saying this, when I was doing this, when I was living this, I wasn't already rich. However, I am far richer right now as a result of making that decision in the beginning. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you wearing golden handcuffs? Are you working on products that you hate, software that you hate, for a company that you hate? If so, why? And are you willing to break those golden handcuffs? Are you willing to live with a smaller television? Are you willing to live with not buying a new phone every year? Are you willing to live with driving your Mercedes E350 instead of an S580 in order to actually try and make a difference and try and change the world? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. And above all, just wanted to throw a special thank you out there to Steve and Milan. Milan, rest in peace. He passed away last year. Those are the two people that I stole from that other company that were willing to take a chance on me when I had less money and less notoriety, less resources, less reputation, than the company that they were leaving. And they took a chance on me, and one of them still works with me damn near 10 years later. And makes about quadruple here what he used to make there, but not in the beginning. And they were taking a bet on me, and I just wanted to say thank you, because in case they watch this, because I really appreciate them taking that chance on me and believing it. And like, I kind of, sometimes I have these visions, and I kind of want to try and jump and leap ahead forward to achieve it before it seems like I have any sort of bridge to cross to get to it. And I kind of appreciate the people that are crazy enough to follow me along. I'm going to stop rambling now. See you all in the next one. Pleasure meeting a lot of you at DEF CON.